Hi, this is Rose McDonough and I'm a retired teacher. Today I'm going to show you about Instant Pot cheesecake. I happen to love cheesecake and I specifically love pumpkin, so what better recipe? Started out with a recipe that my friend gave me a long time ago from Kohl's, and it was just a pressure cooker. Of course, anybody who's hung around with me knows that I took the recipe and I did those words called adapting the recipe. So I've adapted it because originally I did not even have a springform pan. And for those of you who don't know what a springform pan is, it opens up, it comes apart, it works out really well for cheesecake, for serving. But because I didn't have a springform pan, I had to figure out what to do. I had one of these deep dish pans, which is also what I put my lasagna in when I put it into the Instant Pot. So what I would do for this one is I would cut out on the bottom and put parchment paper on it, and know that you have to serve, and the first cut always looks terrible. But no problem, it was good tasting and that's all that mattered. But I'm borrowing someone else's because I have it, so why not? I might have told you before that I love to go to Goodwill, and so I look for products all the time, or appliances that I might like. I got this one. Gosh, it's a Proctor Silex little chop master. I have no idea how long I got it. I got it for $2. That's how long ago it was. And I don't use it constantly, but it sure is nice when you're doing things like this. For my crust, you can use one of three things. You can use graham crackers, you can use vanilla wafers, you can use ginger snaps if you want. I just chose to use vanilla wafers because I want the cheesecake to be the most powerful part of it, not the ginger snaps, which I think take on a little bit more of a flavor. So I have in here 1 cup of vanilla wafers, not 1 cup pre-measured, 1 cup already chopped up, and I measured it and I made sure I was good to go. And I have 3 tablespoons of melted butter. And since I have this great little container, why not just add all this to it right now? And I'm going to mix it up. And with this, you have to always make sure it locks really well. No, wrong side, of course, I didn't pay attention. You don't use the right locking side, it doesn't lock in and work. The mixer did all the work instead of me, the chopper. That's all I needed to do. I'm going to add in a little bit more of this butter, and I'm going to get my smallest rubber scraper, and I'm just going to add this onto the bottom a little bit. Who cares? Butter is butter. It's going to be all mixed in and it will bake in anyway. But this way I have this in, and this is how I'm going to lightly grease my pan. How much easier does it get than that? With this, I'm also going to add in, of course, my crumbs that I have just put together. They may not be perfect, but I can work with them a little bit when I'm putting them in here. Once I put this in here, you do not need to cook it or anything else. You're just adding it in, and then once this is pressed into the bottom of it, I'm going to use my other ingredients and start working on my filling. What's in the filling? Well, I happen to put in not cream cheese, but you certainly can use cream cheese. But I used the other kind of cream cheese that is considered to be lower fat cream cheese. Neufchâtel. Yes, that's how you say it. Neufchâtel. French I am not. I had to actually listen to it a long time ago to make sure. And before we did this, I listened again to make sure I was still saying it correctly. So I have some Neufchâtel here. 1 pound. 1 pound means you need 2 blocks. And I added some sugar in. I already pre-mixed this up. I didn't use my KitchenAid. I'm just using my small hand mixer. Can you imagine how many appliances I have in my house? And I already mixed it together until it was really well done. To that, I'm also going to add, so it's called creaming is what you've done. So I'm throwing in 2 eggs. Well, I'm dropping them in. I'm not really throwing them in. I'm putting in a tablespoon of flour. That just helps put it together. 1 to 2 teaspoons of pumpkin pie spice. So let's say you don't have pumpkin pie spice. Put a little bit of cinnamon in, maybe a little bit of nutmeg, a little bit of ginger. Try it out. I mean, it's cheesecake. How many cheesecakes can you make until you make your recipe exactly how you want? Well, I know in my house, I don't know, 5, 6. We'd be happy to continue eating cheesecake. We like it. And then I also have 3/4 of a cup of my pumpkin puree that I'm adding into here. Once I mix all this up, then I'm going to put it on to my crust that I have flattened out. And the last thing that I'll do with it, sounds really weird, is I'm going to tap it because I want to make sure all the air bubbles come out. After I've tapped it, I'm going to put a paper towel on top of it, put it into my Instant Pot with a cup of water. It'll be on the trivet. And the reason I do the paper towel, no one told me to do that. I didn't like the first time I did it. It felt just a little bit too moist. Put that paper towel on it. It seems to absorb any of the steam that's going around, and I like that a little bit better. And I do this for a full 30 minutes at high pressure. So on here, if I was reading on here, I remember the first time I read it, oh, active time 25 minutes and it's done in total time 25 minutes. Yeah, that's not working. It takes a good hour by the time you bring everything together, and then it has to pressurize up. And then, this is a make-ahead recipe because it needs to refrigerate it for about 4 hours. When you first pull it out, it's going to be very jiggly. As it cools, just like any other cheesecake, as it cools, it solidifies more. So, I'll be back in a minute to show you as I put this together. All right, so I have put my crust in here, and I usually use my roller. If you don't have a roller, find something else. And I use just a small sandwich bag and mash it down and flatten it out. It's the easiest way to do that. I've mixed this up. I was just thinking, you might ask, why was I using my hand mixer and not my KitchenAid? I just like to be able to get to the outsides a little bit better with the hand mixer than I can with the KitchenAid. But of course, I use the KitchenAid for a whole lot of heavy-duty work. So now I'm going to pour it into here. And it's important, make sure you cream your cream cheese with your sugar before you add in all of your other things. I didn't always do that, and I have to admit that sometimes when I don't do that, and I just mix everything together at once because I'm lazy, that I'll notice that you can see some white spots on the cream cheese. It's also because I'm using the cream cheese with something pinkish, and so that's what changes it a little bit. It doesn't matter. Really, it doesn't. It's going to all taste good when you put it all together. It's just a matter of preference if you prefer to do it that way. Be lazy like me, or as I did it the appropriate way this time, because I should be teaching that. All right, so that's it. I can't get any more out. So I'm adding this in here, and then it's hard for you to see this from a distance, but as I just started doing that, air bubbles start coming out. Just tap it a few times. And there's just one air bubble there I'm trying to get out. There we go. Got that one out. That should be it. I'm going to, as I said, use the trivet in here. You want to put your trivet in and put a cup of water in, which I've already done. You certainly can just bring this up, put it here, put it on top if you want to, and layer it in. Just for added help, I'm going to use my sling. I always think it's funny, the sling, but I've made the sling by just taking some aluminum foil and folding it back and forth and doubling it up so that it's stronger. I do this just so that on two different ways I have a way to grab it. These handles don't come up quite as high. This obviously comes up higher. I want to be able to get it out. Because when you are finished with this, you want to do the quick release on it and get it out of there immediately. Don't leave it on. I'm going to take my paper towel, just going to rip a little bit of it off, and I'm just going to layer the paper towel over top of here. Is it going to get a little bit of my cheesecake mixture on it? Sure it is. But is it going to take a lot of the moisture in the air? Yes, and that's what's more important. All right, I need to concentrate as I'm putting this in because the last thing we want to do is drop it and have a mess in there. That's it. My sling comes up a little bit. I'm just going to curve it in, and that's it. The thing that I want to make sure I tell you is after you put your lid on and you vent it closed, I'm coming over here and I'm going to say with my pressure cook, I don't want keep warm. I'm turning off the keep warm because I want it to be able to quickly, concentrating. I want to be able to quickly release it, and I don't want any additional heat in there. All right, so I've got it set at 30 minutes. I have it at higher pressure, not lower pressure, just checking. It's less, it's normal, it's high, and that's what I want to have it on. Oh my gosh, when I started playing with it, it slid back down to 20 minutes is what I had it for before. Okay, that's 30 minutes. That's it. That's all you're going to have to do. The vent is closed. You know how it works. In about 30 seconds, it's going to do its thing. All right, I'm going to pull some names out, and then we'll just show you a picture of what it looks like at the end, because really, you don't need me to come back on and say, voila, here it is, the finished one. All right, so I'm pulling, oh, wow, how cool is this? I picked out Ann McNulty. Ann commented on the apple pie filling, but even more important than that, I've known Ann for most of my life. I believe we became friends when, gosh, Ann, how old was I? 26, maybe 27? Yeah, so we've known each other most of our lives. All right, and the other one, because I pulled out two names at the same time, is a new subscriber who is Joseph Morani. Thank you so much for subscribing. And for the rest of you, you know, if you haven't already, like, subscribe, please leave comments. That just means so much to me. I don't go back and look every day, but I look every few days. Maybe every 2 weeks I look. I like to read your comments. It's heartwarming to me. And thank you to those who have said that I must have been a good teacher, because I really liked what I did. All right, thank you. Do whatever it is that you need to do to make it a great day for you, and I'll see you back here again soon.